Hey there! Did you know Kroger always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower-than-low prices? And when you download the Kroger app, you'll enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. And don't forget fuel points to help you save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Want to save even more? With a Boost membership, you'll get double fuel points and free delivery. So shop and save big at Kroger today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to an episode of Post Conference Presser for Anfield Index, ladies and gents. I'm your normal host, Dave Davis, coming to you from pretty miserable and bleak Edinburgh, but that is not the existence of the Reds right now, is it? Because we are top of the league. Jurgen Klopp was buoyant, I'd say, to a certain part in this press conference. He was enjoying being asked in his most standard sarcastic manner around all the players, which we'll get on to. So it'll be the normal routine. We'll talk about the Q&As, the questions Jurgen Klopp was asked, the answers he gave. We'll talk about the clues from the Brighton game, the Sunday just gone from Easter Sunday. We will talk about, and maybe I should be careful how I phrase this, but let's be respectful, Sheffield United threats, and then the predicted lineup, formation, and the score and scorers as ever. So let's get into it, ladies and gents, because he was asked quite a bit. He talked quite a bit. Real detail, maybe I know it's coming to the end, who knows, but the most detail I can remember from some time that Jurgen Klopp's given. So let's get into it this way. So he was asked, first of all, by Vinny O'Connor as normal, what about the players coming back, who might be available, etc., etc. He said Curtis is in full training, is in contention. That's it pretty much. The other boys are doing well. Diogo and Trent are together in a group, and from next week, they should be in on parts of team training. Then he was asked about Alisson, no. Maybe next week, parts of team training again. And then right at the end, it was almost the very last question. As he was walking out, he was asked about Andy Robbo. And is he fit? He said, yeah, absolutely, Andy Robbo is fit for this one. So real, I'd say mix of injury news. There's nothing bad there. Probably the disappointment, if we deal with the worst bit for everyone, is you were hoping Trent and Diogo could be fit for that Old Trafford clash, couldn't we? I know we're fast forwarding ahead, but they're not going to be. It's going to be after those, which is still decent timeline, what we expected, but that rules them out of that. On the positive side, Curtis fine, Robbo back. Alisson not really different there, so you just put that in the middle, shall we say. But yeah, mixed news to an essence, but pretty good overall. I think that is important to say. He was then asked about how it links to squad strength. You know, it's good to have these players coming back, squad strength's needed. And it is normal, yeah, when he kind of mumbled a bit. But then he did with his hands and he went, so Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. Those are our next 6 games. So we need the squad and everyone who can come back. And either it's ideally full strength, which is not possible because they come back and then someone else won't be available. And that's on the fact the games are too intense and everybody is fighting for everything. It's really a tough period, but it's exciting as well. We're looking forward to it and all the games are coming up. We're not getting away from that. They'll all be difficult for different reasons, but I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, you could say there's an implication. We should know the answer, you know, without being told this. We know how we think. But yeah, we will need these squad players. And that might even come into my team lineup prediction. I don't know. But we're going to have to rotate. It's going to be so crucial during this period. I mean, like you said, Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. Oh, and by the way, he kind of leaves that next 6 games, because after that 6 games, which you kind of left, or into that last 6 games, if you want to put it that way, oh yeah, there's the 3 and 6 days then, isn't there, with the Everton and West Ham to finish. So it is an insane schedule. Rotation and the managing of minutes is going to be absolutely crucial and paramount. No 2 ways about it. And speaking of how we see it, or I see it, you see it, he was asked about the fans and whether they'll almost be casting forward ahead of Sheffield United to that big one on Sunday against Manchester United. He actually said, I don't think our people are like this. If I would think now about United, our people would have a right to think I'm already too long in this chair. You cannot win football games without respecting the opponent. I have no chance to influence that Manchester United game with team selection. No chance. We will have players available. We had Sunday, Thursday. It's normal for us, but we want to use them. So just because Curtis is back doesn't mean he can play 90 minutes. Other players may need rhythm, but it's nothing to do with the United game. Absolutely nothing. Sheffield United deserves our full respect, and they get that. The answer with these things, people, is always somewhere halfway between. We know how these things work, because you can't come out and say the absolute truth, which isn't as some fans saying, oh, we can beat Sheffield United with the under-7s and all this, blah, 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 it'd be easy. He'll be thinking, no, you set the mentality, and it's not just the weakest and the strongest, because he never talks in that sense, quite rightly, as a manager, because he's got to keep everyone on side. But rotation's going to be crucial, as we mentioned before, in this way. And the other big thing that I would really stress is, people say, oh, Curtis back in, that's fine, get these players back in. He will be looking in terms of, it's that management of managing the players, giving people rhythm, which might mean you could imply that stronger team than he wanted maybe starts this and they come off after a certain period. Or it could mean, do the squad members, rather than your first team 11, see more minutes? You can take that how you want. Maybe we'll never know exactly until the lineup's released. But he's not going to have anyone in the squad giving any disrespect. It's Sheffield United. We know exactly where Jurgen's focus will be. So he's then asked about, the City and Arsenal games, and they're on tonight. How do you see that? Because you get it. You understand that's the question, to build the whole thing. He goes, I didn't even know they played tonight. No, it's not really my subject. I expect them always to win, which isn't possible when they play against each other. But now they don't do that anymore. It's not about that. We need to get our points in, win our games. I'm honestly not interested. I told you one story years ago and wanted Leicester to win, and it didn't happen. And that's the last time I did that. That's when you learn from the past, and when you play, when they play, my heart rate doesn't go up. Don't fully believe Jurgen on this, to be honest, because, he did mention about that Leicester game and when Company scored that goal. But also, he's almost nonchalantly, if you look back to his press conferences when he's been asked, talked about results and things from other games. He's been quite careful, which gives you, a clear intimation without an express statement that he does keep an eye on him. So I don't believe him fully. He'll have an idea of it. However, he can't cast that. What else is he going to say to his squad? Focus on us. It's natural. That is the message he has to send again. Whether you believe it or not, I'm not 100% sold, but there we go. Then we got into the players, and he was asked about players galore, and it started with the first of a 2-part about Alexis McAllister, how he's getting on. He said, how he came in, that discussion, and how it's worked. And some interesting comments here. He said, I didn't want to limit him. This was a player I desperately wanted, and thank God we got him. From the moment he's come in, it's been about a new environment, and everything he's learned at Brighton has been super useful. But he's in a new environment, a slightly different role, and how he adapts to that, you never know. It's not from a football point of view, but more from a character one. There's been more discussions around, can he play 6? And I got asked these questions quite frequently. It always helps if you can play a little bit out of your comfort zone. An 8 is his best position, but he can play the 6. We had talks before we signed him, and then it was super positive. He's a fantastic boy. But you can see that when he's here in the middle of the group, he's the best English speaker of the Spanish faction. So they sit together on a table. If you make a picture of that table and Ali's there on the top of it, the head of it, if you went to the Copa America, it would then be a funny picture to talk about. But he's a fantastic player, and he's super important for us. I think there's so much to unpack there. It's brilliant, wasn't it? Yeah, you could tell how much you wanted him. That was clear in the recruitment. We got him. We should be thankful. It's been unbelievable this season. Absolutely brilliant. A contender for our player of the year, a contender for team of the year. Absolutely sensational so far this season. An interesting thing that he never really talked too much about his position because he's always being asked about 6, but that confirmation, which people may think, we already knew, but it's different when Jurgen confirms it outright. 8 is his best position, but he can play the 6. We've talked about this before in other pods, but the impact that has with Endo being in team, etc. Yeah, the confirmation there. That best English speaker of the Spanish faction. So he's a key presence within the group. He's saying that already. We know he settled in well. We know that relationship he has with Darwin and the others. And he was the best English speaker out, the Spanish boys, and he connects with Allison as well. He is a key part of that squad as well already. It's not just about playing, it's about how he connects with everyone. He is a prominent part of our squad. And in fact, it would not surprise you in the next few seasons, maybe the next season. We don't know how the new head coach will do this, don't get me wrong, but Alexis became part of that leadership group. It could well be believable. Then, sticking on Alexis, but jumping to another player, he was asked about the relationship between Alexis and Mo Salah, their relationship based on the goal at the weekend. He goes, I did talk about that, I think, didn't he? And we said, no, Alexis talked about that. Someone told me after the game that Mo ordered an assist from him, but Mo is pretty much doing that on Monday with everybody anyway. He tells everybody, if you don't know where to pass, give it to me. So, yeah, and a bit of a giggle all round. I don't think there's a specific partnership. I think most assists for Mo probably has Darwin, if I'm right. So we need them all. What I loved about his goal specifically is how we used the formation, and everybody was in pretty much the perfect position, and then things can work out like that. The pass from Dom to Maka was already exceptional, and the next pass is only possible because Mo arrives there as Dom is in the right wing and Connor is in the half space as it should be, especially against man-marking orientated teams. So that's important. We have the moments where Mac has to pass the ball to another striker or another player, and hopefully he finds them then. Partnerships on the pitch are very important. Usually I enjoy partnerships with the 3, as that makes more sense in football. We're in a position we are in because the boys played really well together in that partnership, and that's what we need in the next 14 games, hopefully. Interested a bit of Kloppo with the analysis there, and it's not about revealing big secrets, don't get me wrong, but it's always interesting when the manager gives you that insight in his ideas, isn't he? That Connor in the half space, Dom in that right wing, the execution of getting McAllister in that part, Salah doing it, a very, as they say, the perfect orientated move. And against especially that De Zerbi setup, who very much goes man for man, as we know. So it's always good just to get those little bits of analysis from the manager as well as praising multiple players. I think that was a brilliantly answered question. Sticking on players, a different one. He was asked about Luis Diaz then, and it's his 12th goals and the work he does for the team. Again, a bit of analysis here. He said defensively, the difference is always how much the offensive players work back. Otherwise, you defend with 7 and the opponents can be hard to beat, and 7 to defend the whole pitch is tricky. So you can defend it, but it's difficult then to win the balls in the right spaces. You need the 3 up front to do this dirty work as well. And they do it, which is super important. As a manager, I just don't understand it in a different way. I've never asked a player to stay away and wait until we win the ball. If you look at Lucho specifically against Brighton, his position in our midfield press was slightly different and he adapted really well. And we needed him then in both directions. Shame the up boys aren't doing this. They'll be going crazy for this type of analysis. But yeah, I agree with what he said. And he's always taught Jurgen, hasn't he, about the passport into this team for our forwards is counter-pressing. He said that numerous times. The fact that we're not going to defend with 7 outfield players. Everyone has to do a job. And Lucho, that adaptation, as he said, linking back to the previous question, clearly with De Zerbi's setup, he's looked at that and, there's made clear tactical adjustments, however that's come about, and look at how well it's done. A quick reference, I'm going to talk about this too much. You mentioned Badge as well. He has been training within the 21s that he talked about last week. So next week, he'll be back with them. And Endo developments. He was asked about Endo and he revealed something that we didn't know. And he laughed when he was asked about Endo, because obviously this is on the back of Diaz, McAllister, Salah, all these other players. He goes, we can go through the whole team if you want. Yeah, he's very important. I mean, come on, it's Wataru. He got a knock, so we have to see tomorrow what we could do with him. But he's important for really playing offensively, because your protection needs to be perfect. It's easy to play offensively with all these players, but that means your protection needs to be perfect so you can fly offensively. A naturally defensive-minded midfielder is super helpful, and he's doing that super well. He partners with everybody, including with Dom, with Harvey, with Curtis. He's super important, as they all are. Kept trying to get that, didn't he, when asked about players, how everyone's important to the team. I love the way he answers those types of questions. You know, there is a skill to Jurgen Klopp. There's many skills to Jurgen Klopp, but this is one he has in abundance. But, yeah, has a knock. Said we'll have to see. Didn't rule him out, importantly, but we'll have to see, which will come into my maybe thinking around formation and lineup shortly. So as we do, we looked to the last match for clues, and it was Brighton, wasn't it? 2-1. Down within a couple of minutes to the Danny Welbeck strike before Luis Diaz equalises from a Joel Veltman flick on, you could say, and Mo Salah for the winner. I mean, the honest thoughts on this, we won. We were wasteful. I mean, Mo Salah alone had 12 shots, didn't he? I think it was his new record. Great to see Diaz on the goal trail as well, but we were just wasteful in a lot of position. Mo Salah being the main thing, but he's a difference maker, so it's irrelevant really. And it's a brilliant goal that he scored. But we did largely control that performance overall. There was a lot of not brilliant performances, because if we won maybe 4 or 5-1 as we should have done, then you start saying like, wow, 8s, 9s all round. But because of that, there's many with pass marks, but nothing sensational particularly. Apart from, for me, Alexis McAllister. Though he was absolutely magnificent again. An all-action performance. The amount of duels he won, the amount of chances he created, the highest in the team, I think, was 6. Absolutely sensational. We also talk in these bits of, does anyone play their way in and out? The interesting thing, and I'll come back to this, I think a few people clocked it, the subs were super late, weren't they? They're coming on in the last few minutes like the Dutch boys. Surprised a lot of people, surprised me at the time. I think we were thinking, maybe they would, but maybe it is ahead of this and the rotation part. Maybe that's important to know. There's no one who had a bad performance to play their way in and out, but we'll have to see. Curtis Jones was on the bench but didn't get a minute, so that'll figure into later when we go to lineup and formation. Now, I want to be respectful in this, and I shouldn't even giggle at the start of this, that's terrible. But what I say about Sheffield United threats, I mean, clear, objective analysis. This is officially the worst team in the league. The table tells you that. You cannot lie. And in fact, Burnley started picking up a few points. The distance at the bottom is growing as well. They've got 15 points. The fact is, though, at the same time, they have drawn their last 2. They drew with Fulham at home, didn't they? They'll be bitterly disappointed, but maybe it shows where they are. They conceded that late goal to Rodrigo Muniz. But when you look at their record overall, I mean, they've only won 3 games. They've drawn 6. They've lost 20. They've lost 20 games. They've got a horrendous record at Anfield. I mean, they've not won since 1994. Look at all the key stats. Been the top scorers, the likes of McBurney, McAtee with 5 goals. Also, maybe just to add into the mix, it's not a big part, don't get me wrong, but there's that little bit of Chris Wilder, Jurgen Klopp history, isn't there? The 5 subs and the issue that way. Chris Wilder is not the most popular manager. The nonsense about the sandwich with the assistant referee and the comments that way, VAR and all those types of things. We'd love to give it tight to Chris Wilder tomorrow. So we always talk in terms of sometimes banana skins. There's always a potential because it's this late in the season. The only thing I can really make the case for is they've drawn, to be clear, a couple recently. And Anfield did get a bit tetchy, didn't it, at 2-1. So if they keep it tight, there's always that possibility. But I'm struggling to see it. I don't want to engineer something that's not there at the same time. So I'm not really looking at them and thinking there's serious banana skin potential. You expect to win. It's right to expect to win. It's right to expect a comfortable win, I think, as well. But we'd take a good win. I know people will be shouting this going, no, Arsenal have got 6 goals on us. They've got Luton. They're going to bag that. And I get that as well. but a win with no injuries, a comfortable ride it into Sunday, I would take at the same time. So where do we go with this full rotation and lineup? I really can make a case either way. And a little bit I'm going off what he said in the press conference, which might be recency bias, you could argue, but I'm not maybe expecting as much rotation as I first did. And again, I could be wrong. I think there'll be a lot of substitution and management. What I mean, it's going to be, sounds like a politician now I get, but halfway between. So where am I going? That's what it comes down to. I think Kelleher in nets, obviously, sorry. Bradley, VVD, Konate and Robbo. I think they'll start. I think he'll want to get Konate ready for United. He won't want him missing 2 games in a row. It could be Quansah to start, and I get that. It would not surprise me, but maybe I suspect Quansah might come on for Konate in that regard. Robbo needing the minutes ahead of it because obviously he was been injured. He wouldn't take a gamble, but it's hard to see. If I think back to the FA Cup where he did play his strongest lineup at Old Trafford, Gomez was on the left, so I wouldn't be surprised either way. Robbo, left back. The midfield. Again, this is good. Doesn't mean it's right. I know Endo Sada's got a knock. I do think Endo will start. He's a robust character overall with the gum shield and everything that he brings. It's a knock. He's not saying he's out. He might manage it, but I would think he starts personally. Szoboszlai, in a bit of rhythm. He talked about players. He started to go wet, and especially in the last 20 minutes against Brighton, he was brilliant, wasn't he? Pressing. That cheer he got when he forced Van Hecken to put it out for the, or for Bruggen as whatever the keeper's called, sorry, to put it out for the throw to us. I swither on this, but my gut tells me Alexis McAllister starts and Curtis Jones comes on for him, something like a pre-planned 60 minutes, something like that. I thought about would Jones start, but no, I think McAllister will start, so Jones is coming on. Also, Harvey can come on at some point. So the starting lineup, I think, will be Núñez, Gakpo, Salah. I think Diaz gets a bit of a rest again because of his all-action style display and maybe comes on a bit. I think Elliott may come on a bit for Salah or Núñez. Neither would surprise me. But yeah, I think Gakpo will start. And I know people are going to say, what about Gravenberch? I think Gravenberch could well come on as well. And the only thing I've got zero doubt over in this whole thing is that 5 substitutes will be made. But that is my team, people. Not much faith in it at all because of the nature of what's going on. Kelleher, Bradley, VVD, Konate, Robbo, Endo, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Núñez, Gakpo, Salah. So a few changes, manage minutes for some, and all 5 subs to be made. Which then brings it on to the score and scorer. I genuinely can't say anything than a good win. That's not being arrogant, despite what I've just talked about there. However, I am going to say 4-0 and Darwin Núñez on the goal trail. What I would really like is a spread of the goals. No people would be great if Mo Salah got this or this. You want all your forwards firing into that United game. So it'd be great if you could get Núñez on the score sheet, Salah on the score sheet, maybe like another for McAllister or so, but people just firing in a clean sheet. That's the perfect tune-up then for the next game, isn't it, realistically? So that would be me, 4-0 with Núñez on the score sheet. You may agree, you may disagree, you might think it wildly wrong, you might be all sorts of things. However, for your viewing pleasure, that was post-conference presser for Anfield Index.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.